originally from Brazil, now based in Europe. Yuri Mansur is a well-known member on Team Brazil, and he's also earned a lot of top placings in 5-star Grand Prix, including Rome recently, winning the 5-star Grand Prix, as well as going to 2 Olympics. Is that right? However, he's most known perhaps for his deep bond with his horses, his unique yellow riding jacket, as well as his incredible work ethic. His journey from humble beginnings to consistent force of nature really is not only impressive, but really deeply inspiring. So I'm really thrilled to sit down here today with Yuri. Thank you so much.
Thank you also. I'm really happy to do it.
I had another question prepared. However, we're just chatting already. And what you mentioned, it's so true. You know, you don't come from your typical background in horses. Your parents were not in horses, right? You come from a country that is maybe not known for having lots of, horses and horse knowledge. And yet you've made it to the top. So I'm actually very curious. Can you tell us more about your upbringing and your journey to get here?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I think a really different aspect about my beginning was already how everything happened with my family. So I born in Brazil, São Paulo. And when I was only 4 years old, my parents had divorced, but I was a really bad divorce. My father disappeared. We never more had contact with him after that. And then my mom should work quite a lot, because I had 2 small kids to do it. And because of this, we grew a lot alone. Me and my brother. We always had a small family from my mom's side, and somehow my father family also disappeared together with my father. So yeah, we had a lot of time alone, me and my brother. And the curiosity is that nobody around my family, and as well my family, nobody really did sport. So we are not only out of horse, but also completely out of sport. So that makes a lot of difference when I look around. Most of the big champions, or they are second, third generation, or at least the family was really involved on the process and on the sport process, So this was really, really different. And what is also really tricky in the way that I should learn a lot about myself, and also about the changes the life can make, is because with my father, when he left, my mom put me to do a lot of sport, because I think she told this was a good thing to do. And from 4 until, let's say, 7, I was really talented for most of the sports, so I could do everything really well, swimming, soccer, and all this. And then sometimes, I know this also when I am trying to protect my kids or to educate them. We never know what is the result then. So for a moment, every sport I was doing, the trainers were always trying to push me a little bit to the professional way. So, and I like it. So when I was 7, then my mom took me out from all the sports, because she told, because of the pressure of the divorce, because we had no really family around and all this, that the sport was making pressure on me.
Right.
So this put me completely to the other direction. So from 7 to 12, I got 20 kilos. I was playing video game all day. I went completely to the other direction, So, and I was already really, let's say, a solitary person. Is my natural a bit. I think I changed a lot in the last years, and I grew it a lot to be more social, but still is my natural way to be. And all this just put me really in my own world, like I was a weird kid, I think, and I always was a thinker, so I was completely, in another world, so, and this I learned a lot because I had been in many sides, poor, less poor, medium class. Some people say I'm rich. I've been really skinny, fat, really fit. I know also how the people judge and what they think about all the, when you are winning 5 stars or when you cannot clear 130. So all this I felt a lot as a kid, and somehow was a great experience because I could really learn about in the end what counts is what you believe, so I remember as 12 years old I could already have a kind of ideas about this, and I think this was a process that helped me a lot to pass through all what I should do afterwards, so this is the beginning. It was really different, and and then is this, at 12 years old I remember I was completely I was thinking I would be a doctor or whatever, and I could not play soccer, I could do nothing, I hated sport, I hated all this. And then there was a kind of series in Brazil about rodeos. Arraios a Trovão was the name, and that really got me, like because there was horses, and just remember the beginning. The first movie I saw in my life was The Black Stallion. And I promise I saw this movie more than 1,000 times. I saw now last week with my little daughter, and I can repeat every word from close my eyes and I know exactly what's going on. So somehow I had a passion for horses, always had, But then at 12 years old, I had this series that I was watching in Brazil. And then it was a funny day because I don't remember if I had a flu or something, so I could not go to the school. In this day, it was Wednesday. And and then my mom, she always got the best newspaper in Brazil. So because I was not in the school, I was reading the newspaper. And then I saw publicity from somebody saying that he was a breeder and he was selling horses, And then I took the phone. And I was 13, not 12. And then I called and I asked how much was the price. And then he told me, if he's 3 years old, it's $100. I never forget this. And I was trying to get a dog before, and dogs were more expensive than this. So I ran to my mom. She was already going to the elevator because we lived in an apartment. And then I went quickly there and said, Mom, my horse is only $100. That we can buy. She said, yeah, if it's $100, I buy. Okay, so day after I went to the school, I spoke with a friend of mine that was a rider. So me, him, and my mom went to the place, and then we tried the one my friend said was good. I said, okay, this one. But then we could not even imagine how much cost was behind $100 horse. We could have it. So then the process to find a place and all this. So this is a bit the difference about my beginning.
Yes, definitely a very different story from many that I've heard so far. That's for sure. Yes. Right. So you got into it at the age of 13, 14. You start riding. How did you get to Europe? I mean, what was that journey like?
So. First of all, when I went to this little club, the name was Santa Fe, close to Santo Amaro in São Paulo. I didn't want to do horse sport. I want to be a cowboy or something. I find ridiculous to jump a little fence and wear these clothes and all this. So I was really against the idea, and I was treating my horse as a pet. Like walking around, trying to teach them and break him because he was not break. So, and this is also something really curious about my personality, And that time, today I have 66 kilo. I was 14 and I have 75. So I was pretty fat,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of the guys from this club came to me and said, "Yeah, you're a fat boy. You can do nothing actually. Thanks God you're not riding because the horse could not hold your weight." But that disturbed me so much, And I said, "Now I'm gonna ride. Now I'm gonna ride just to prove that I can ride, And that was my beginning in the sport. It was just to prove this guy that I was wrong, And but then I have to say, then from the beginning, I knew that this was what I want to do in my life. I was completely crazy about, and not so far away from this, or just in the beginning of this. I also remember that Brazil got the first team gold medal in the Pan American Games, and that was quite easy to watch in the Brazilian television. So that was a unbelievable inspiration for me. I was sure about what I want to do, And this guy Victor Teixeira was an idol. I remember I was in the club on time and he gave me an autograph, and that was the really beginning of the real passion for the sport, But yeah, we had a really limited budget to spend with horses, to spend with the sport. My mom was completely out from any kind of sport mentality, so it was difficult, Saturday, Sunday, I was almost happy when she could not go to the club because it was even harder to training or to compete when she was there because, she was not really involved about mindset, preparation and all these, And again, the problem is when you are a little fat kid, a bit shy and a bit this, the judgment is already that you are not good, So it's really funny. For a side, I was really talented, but really I could control horses, really difficult for all the kids. The trainers, they were always impressive about what I could do, but somehow this judgment from outside could also affect me a lot, So I was talented but not confident, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and then I won some classes, but I was not a killer, And also, I think is also a lot in my personality and about my story is that I always trained a lot of animals in my life. I always liked it, So when I was 4 years old, my dream was that Santa Claus bring me a dolphin, I remember to take the bath full of water and put salt, waiting for the dolphin in the Christmas day. So I was really enjoying the process to break my horse, to teach them. I was more interested about this than really find a way to compete and to win, So this was a bit how I was in that period. And then going a bit faster in the story, I was hard enough to pay the bills every month, but my mom was managed. And then at the age of 17, is really hard in Brazil because you have this culture you have to go to the university, and this is a big moment of your life because when you are in this age, you believe that you're going to choose what you're going to do forever, And I have to say I had a lot of pressure from my mom about this. And I was an okay student in the school, but when I finally learned to how to study, I could get really high notes to this university tests. So I went to the best university, really in high position every time. And in 1 year I tried veterinary, I tried publicity, I tried administration and biology also. So in 1 year I tried, but I was just thinking, no, this is not for me. I want to be a rider, this was my main idea. And then finally, it's like I always say, the bad things, most of the time, they just help you, So my mom, we had a little school in that time, and then my mom broke. Finally, the school was going really bad. So then, she could not help with the university anymore. We could not have horses anymore. One horse. So in that moment, finally, was the opportunity that I could try to risk and do what I wanted. So I decided to come to Europe. I had a Brazilian friend that was living here for a while, so he knew 2 or 3 barns where I could come. So that's what I did. I saw that I had a little trailer. I was a little bit doing transport for the people, because then I could help to pay the bills for my horse. And then I tried to come like this, and then I went to Belgium, to Yves Villa. Yeah, and that was the beginning in Europe. Yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like it all started with you really falling in love with horses and creating a huge passion for just training horses, being with horses and communicating with them. And the passion for the sport came later. Can you tell us a bit more about how do you create such a deep bond and relationship with your horses? What does it take?
Yeah. How can it's also fun that we cannot create this with every horse, no? So somehow, when you identify the same kind of personality than you, I think is something a little bit about this in the end. And also, because if you analyze what we do, with any animal, it's a bit the same. But when we speak about train an animal and compete, sometimes we get a bit confused about. But when let's say you get a dog, and you want that he sit and that he runs, speak, whatever, that is only about tricks. Mm-hmm. It's not that really the dog knows what means sit. Mm-hmm. But in the end, there is 10 ways to teach a dog to sit. Mm-hmm. But in the reality, the animal has to give you the trick. So the concept is how you get the trick. Mm-hmm. It's not every dog can do all the tricks. No, you go to agility, is also the same. There is dogs that does this easily. And what's the trick our sport needs is to jump clear. No, this is the trick the horse has to give to you. And sometimes we try to do in the other way around. No? So we try to make them give the trick. Mm-hmm. And what I felt since the beginning is this, how I can feel that somehow they are enjoying what they are doing, mm-hmm. And I always had this, maybe I lost a lot of time just focus on how they can listen better and how can I listen them better. It was really my focus, and it's a bit crazy in the way it was, if I look backwards I would say, wow, what a weird kid, but I remember exactly the first day I could bend a horse, I said, wow. So yeah, it was a bit this kind of really understanding what they were saying,
So it sounds like it starts with you wanting to also listen to the horse.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just a one-way street, like you have to do this for me. Mm-hmm. It's rather, how can I get to know a horse in a way that I understand what they want, what makes them happy, and from that together we can have that goal of jumping clear. Yeah. But it starts with actually getting to know your horse. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly, and to feel them, because they are so different in between them, and and it was I love the experience to try. Now I ride sit, now I ride standing, now I use a gog, now I don't use a gog. I was so involved about this process, how they react about, mm-hmm. How they improve, how they don't improve, because it's also this, what they learn, but about what they learn, is this better or is this worse? Yeah. Because anyway, they are always trying to learn something,
yes,
So when I come to Europe, then I had a bit more chance to ride a bit more at this place in Belgium. I was breaking a lot of foals also, and all this was amazing, also I remember the first time I break a horse, I was, sorry for the words, but I was shitting my pants, I never experienced nothing like this, so and then this thing, like the first day you put the saddle, the horse accepts, but a lot of times the second time they are worse than the first time, mm-hmm. because they have a little pain, because they know what's coming on, mm-hmm. so to find solutions and understanding all this. I read in that time Monty Roberts, and yeah, was really my goals and my ambitions that moment was to become the best horse trainer I could.
Yes.
That was more. And this is what is funny. Look to the people from my generation when they were 17, 18, they were already jumping Naken.
Mm-hmm.
They were already winning classes and they were already, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was completely another world.
Mm. However, it shows that prioritizing horsemanship and being curious,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
just really being curious about what's working, what's not working, and always having that focus, what's working, what's not working, what do we need to improve, is actually, it doesn't mean that you have to start early, but if you have that curiosity, if you have that clear focus of constantly improving and finding a way that works for this horse, you can also succeed.
Yeah, exactly.
You said that horses have emotions just like people, right? How do you tune into that emotion also under pressure when you're riding for Team Brazil or when it's an important Grand Prix?
Yeah, more and more what I feel about emotions from horses and from us. What is really important is a kind of system to get your emotion stable. So I mean, a good example from it is Rafael Nadal. I don't know if you remember how many ticks he had, and put the buttons here, the buttons here, and all this process become almost a madness. But somehow he find himself where he are, and he find his presence when the pressure is super high and when he's frustrated or when he's losing or or winning or whatever. And what I feel that as much as you can repeat the process as closer as you can, more you can be more or less in the same stage of mood, of feeling, of emotions. Obviously, there is always thousands of things can happen in between, but it's an important thing to do. I think to really try to be home every day.
I love that, to be home every day.
Yeah.
That's such a great expression. And that's obviously something that I teach as a mental coach with riders, the importance of the process. And indeed, the more we can focus on that process, but also really create a process that is that you can perpetuate, right? That you can keep doing, so that you don't need to think too much and question, and that takes a little bit the emotions out, I hear you say.
Exactly, and I feel this already a lot. At the Brazilian team, we are not really a friend group, So, and then there is always a bit, I don't say bad things about, but it's only the reality. It's always a lot of more work to be in my best, because then you have to go to the dinner. Then somebody's not happy because you rode a bit earlier, and and I feel for the horse also. I remember we had a discussion before the Olympics, because part of the group want to go to Deauville to go to the beach with the horses, but this for me, could not make sense, because I was trying to rest before the Olympics. I was home before the Olympics, and I just imagine like my mare that never been in the sea. So I if I'm wrong or right, I don't know, but it's how I believe. That in the end of the day, everybody has your best character, let's say, like this, to compete. Someone has to be angry, someone has to be calm, someone has to be happy. But the challenge is not to try to achieve this in the right day. My challenge is to live this every day. you know.
100%.
Yeah, be present every day, you know, like I have, if you look here, I think it's funny this, because I have
Now I'm getting very curious.
how many things I have in my pocket, you know. You don't look like a idiot completely, but there is a big reason for it. From long period of my life, I never remember where I put my cap, where I put my keys, where I put, because to be capable to do this sport, I become a big dealer of horses, and I was so busy on the phone and make business and all this. So from curious rider, I become after a big dealer, and then after this I become a sport rider, you know. So it was a long process. But I for a moment I could feel that I was losing my natural way to behavior, that I was a solitary guy, always in my world. I was always thinking around, you know, like, and this is something that when I come home, I have to put one of these things in one place, another one in another place, another one in another place every day. Just bring me back to the presence, you know, like in the morning, I try to have a lot of things that don't allow me to, don't be deep inside of me.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really, really valuable lesson that you're sharing with us. And it's one that I always teach my clients, is that if you want to be consistent, you have to be consistent, right? And if you're on autopilot, right, and dealing and being busy can really drive you to go more on autopilot, right? Because you have so much going on, and we're not really present anymore, right?
Exactly. And in this moment, you are weak.
Yeah.
And weak in a way that what the people say or think can take you when you're not present, you know.
Yeah.
And I had this a lot, because imagine a fat small kid and then a poor beginner rider who has no good horses, and then a dealer that has to sell, doesn't matter what kind of horses, and then a green competitor. All this moment, a lot of people say that you are not capable. A lot of people are gonna say to you, don't do it, or you are never gonna read. And what I felt also is still now, I promise you, when I go to Brazil for 20 days, I spend 10 days, and my family is really important for me, because they also understand me. When I'm in these moments, I try to be really alone for long periods, you know. I come back home, I am a monster, you know. If you see Basel, is always best show of the year, because I come really involved with myself about what I believe. And then you are so much stronger in your mind, you know. And when you are not present, all this can take you in the wrong direction, you know. And I always had a big, strong mind, so in the end I always went through. But I felt many times that when the things were not going good, and then I feel worst, or I don't believe as much as the day before, is because you are vulnerable about what the people are saying or thinking. And so I tried always to be in that place where I can. I have a phrase that comes from a Brazilian music, but I always get this really strong in my mind, that is always is not every day. So I try to believe always, but always is not every day. Do you know what I mean? So how to be as close as you can from always.
Yes.
But you know, this is a bit the idea.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's really powerful, and it sounds like your solidarity, or your I should put it, your moments where you come back to yourself. You prefer to do that as a being, but it also really sounds like it helps, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To come back to yourself, to really actually evaluate who am I in all of this, and what do I stand for, what's important for me, and coming back to that connection helps you to just again know where you want to go, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
There is nothing more powerful than that. Did you figure that out on your own?
Yeah. To be honest, since because I was so alone, you know, from as a kid, you know, and more I tried to be social, worse things went, you know, like yeah, I remember in the beginning when we were 12, we start to be a teenager, and there is these little parties and all these. Yeah, that's a lot of talking and a lot of. I couldn't enjoy it, and I couldn't have any benefits from it. And then I remember also the day after, like, I was not connected, and somehow I think kind of bullying you, a kind of missing your family, because in the end my mom was also never really present, and also was not a really advisor, So now it is interesting. Now it comes something in my mind. Do you know where my life really changed for the right direction? Was 1992, beginning of teenager, One thing I have to say, I hated school. I hated from the beginning to the end. I still hate it. I find is a really there is so many other things kids could learn in that process. That for me make no sense. So first of all, how to study. Nobody teach how to study, how to make money, how to fight for your whatever. But this is another story. But so I hated a lot, and the only thing I had in my mind from the beginning to the end of the school is I will never repeat the same year. So I will find a solution and I go through until the end as fast as I can.
Yes.
But 1992 was the year where I was more social and these parties, and then you want to show to the people, the ego will start to be more present, and I was even worse in the school. It was terrible, and it's still sometimes I have nightmares about these nights where you're going to sleep and you have no idea what you're going to have in the test. You didn't study at all, and you know what I mean. And then I almost repeat this year, and from this experience I changed completely. From it, all this about presence, about do my stuff. Obviously, there was up and downs, and I learned more and more. But from that period, I changed completely. Even as a student, then from it, I start to go pretty well, and to learn. And so it was a strong experience. This, to be honest.
I can imagine, and it sounds already like it's the tough experiences, not the comfortable ones, not the successful ones, but the tough experiences that shape us, isn't it?
100%.
Tell us about another tough experience that I know you've had. Obviously, many people watching might know the story of your horse Vitiki, and but maybe you can just walk us through his story, but in particular, obviously getting injured in Aachen, and how did it affect you?
Yeah, this is, let's say, one beautiful part of my story. If there is a book, this would be at least 50 pages about. So let's resume all the story quickly. Kids that had all these issues and so far away from the sport, and so bad prepare to sport life, or even to life maybe, because this is how it was. Went through a long process, and 2017, end of 2017, I was third in the world. Third in the world. It was my third year in Europe, and I had a really big problems with taxes in Brazil in 2015, but a really serious problems, because we were not prepared to it, So I arrived in 2014, 2015. I almost was more focused in solve my problems there than anything else. 2016, I started to compete in high level, and then 2017 I was number 30 in the world. So wow, And then I found Vitiki, and when I tried Vitiki end of 2017 here, I was sure that I was a phenomenal horse. For everybody it was difficult to find a horse. For me it was easy. It was my third good horse, and okay. is also part of the process. This puts you in a wrong position also, because you don't know this place. And then somehow you are a bit lost in this place. You know that you are lost, but you cannot really connect it with this new reality, This is a bit like this. You see a lot in sport, the guy wins the gold medal and then the next competition he fails,
Yes.
This glamour or whatever calls this, is even if you try, somehow this affects you, And then, then everything was going quite good. And then, beginning of this year, 18, my good mare Baby Lot, that was one of the best horses, between the 10 best horses in the world in that time, broke. I had a tendon lesion. And then, Vitski was doing so well that I was even not feel, that she was not there. And then you go to Aachen, for me, Aachen was even a bigger dream than Olympics, I have to say. Aachen was the goal of my life, Competing Aachen once would be already something really special, And then I remember in that day I was sleeping and we got the invitation from Aachen by email without asking the invitation, You are invited to Aachen, And then I remember I was sleeping in the afternoon a little bit, and then my wife called me and then she was screaming. I told my son died or something, so I could not understand, And then we are invited to Aachen, So, what a dream, And then we went there. I had Vitski, I had the belly, and I walked this European Grand Prix, Turkish Grand Prix. It was a really tough class, and the horse was really green, So, and I remember I think it was 6 clear if I'm not wrong, and straight away I went clear, I said, wow. Imagine first time in Aachen after all what happened before, and it was like a proper unbelievable moment, to enjoy this. And then the jump off came. Then I did the wrong choice. We had a crash, not a terrible crash, but we had. And then from it was like one of the biggest nightmares in my life, because it's the kind of things life can bring to you that is 1 second to the other. The tax problem, I knew what's coming. I knew I was not fixing, but I knew. Many other problems, is coming, but when it's 1 second to the other, from here to here, then is really tough.
Yes.
And also the involvement I had already with this horse, because I was in love for the horse, and so first thing I had the fall, and the first thing was myself, because somehow I hit my head, and I was sitting looking to the ground, and then the grass was coming here and going down, grass coming here, coming down, and there was a big noise in my mind, in my head. It was bang. So in that moment I thought, something bad happened, but I knew that if I say to the doctors I could not compete, so I said, let's give 1 minute. If it doesn't go away, then I have to do something. But then coming down, and then it was okay. Then I didn't realize something bad happened with the horse. So when I went to the corner, when is the enter of the arena, then I saw him 3 legs already, like I said, oof, what happened, But then the doctors took me to the ambulance, so I could not see what was going on. Then I went to the medical place for the horses, the veterinarian, I don't know how to call in English. And I will never forget this moment, because when I went in, my good friend Marcelo, that is a vet, was looking to the X-ray, and there was a roll like this in the pastern joint, and he was crying. He's a tough guy, he's a really tough guy. And then I knew what was going on, and I was on my knees, like really terrible. And it's like, it's not only about the tragedy, about what is going that moment, is also, that your future is already, that it will not be how you were expecting, straight away in 1 second, because I knew the future that this horse could have. And I knew how difficult it would be to replace him. And also he was with life risk, so it's also really difficult I like it so much, this horse, so it was all this in my mind. and was already a long journey until there. So, and you achieved a lot of things that you could not even dream.
Yeah.
So it's not this moment to stop. You know, this is the first thing come in your mind.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yes.
come on, more this.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
And then this day was really emotional for me. Like my son, always been a good friend since a little kid. You know, we always been together. We have a bit the same personality. And I told to my groom and to my wife, I give up. We just go home. I don't want to show anymore. I want to just go home. And was a really emotional moment because then my son, I think he was 5 or 6 years old, maybe less. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, he's 5 years old. He told me directly. He hear what I said, and he said, "Papa, you always tell to never give up. How are you gonna give up?" You know.
Wow.
Yeah. It's hard. No? Then we move on for the weekend, and then it was really important because the day after was the Westphalian Grand Prix, and I was 5th with Bell, and I won the 8 years old class also in the same day. So you see, this is what I said in the beginning. The bad moments normally they are the best moments.
Yes.
Because the power I found in my mind I could never even know that I had. You know, like don't sleep, crying all night.
Yeah.
And the day after, be capable to win a class and more. These accidents, I don't know, it's because I hit my head. For the first time, I was afraid to ride.
Yeah.
I think the only time in my life I was afraid to ride, not afraid to lose.
Yes.
Afraid to lose, it happens.
Yeah, sure.
But afraid to ride. And I remember when I won this class, when I was going to the number 1, I said, Yuri, just a smooth class, just to come back. And for a moment, something told me in my mind, said, go now, otherwise you'll never more go, you know. And for a moment to the other, I changed my plan and shoot over and flat out all the time, and I won. And that gave me somehow a really important power for the future. But when I can finish, then I was devastated. It was completely, and for more than 1 year, I have to say, I was not the same guy, not as enthusiastic as before, not as confident as before, not motivated as before. But then again, always is not every day. The only thing I had in mind is I have to keep doing what I do. You know, like have the discipline to don't stop for a second about all what I believe and what I do, even if in that time was not making sense or was not really easy to do, you know. But I was working maybe even more just to try to find in the work a kind of motivation, you know.
Yeah.
But I was not there. And what is unbelievable about all this process is the madness I had to bring this horse back. I was against every vet, every rider, every groom. Everybody thought I was crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And somehow was an obsession, you know, like. But I remember exactly the moment. The moment I started to feel back was when he was third in the 3 Stars Grand Prix in Vila Moura, you know. And then the day after, I'm back, you know. So we were connected somehow in all this process, you know. And also even the Olympic year, he didn't go to Tokyo, but I remember was in Wellington the process that he was starting to jump the 5 stars again, and finally the last one in Wellington is always the bigger one with more money and all this. And then after all this process, he cleared a Rolex Grand Prix again. And from this, then I was completely back, and then I was ready to compete against my teammates and try to have a spot in the team, you know. So yeah, it was, and also for the family, you know, like I told many times, what is the best part for all this process is for my kids, you know, because we have to learn that if you believe it happens. It's really different when you see this as a kid, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, there is no doubt about. We work. We believe happens, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
that was what is more rich in the process. I think is more than for me, was for them, you know.
Yeah.
And Vicky is an idol for them, you know. It's like my daughter, every 3 days she has 20 draws from Vicky, and you know, it's really inspiration for us.
So there's a lot to unpack here. You went from, you know, having the highlight of your, not just career, but your life.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Something you've dreamt of for such a long time. You came such an incredibly long way, literally. And then within not just days, but minutes, that came crashing down to the worst nightmare of your life.
Yeah.
And having a horse with a broken leg, and, you know, part of you says, I can't cope with this. I don't, you know, and yet you dug in, you dug deep, you found a way to continue in that moment, which also, by the way, I think is really important. That moment where you realize, like, I can ride it comfortable ride, a smooth ride, or I can go for it. And I think that too is actually really important decision. That something that I talk to my clients about a lot is oftentimes you want to, the first class of the show, let's do a nice smooth round. But what do we train, right? It's about consistency. So giving herself that space to just focus on smooth or just a clear round, what does that create? Yeah, if 2-3 classes out of I don't know, 12 of the weekend is focused on that, it's going to create something, right? And somehow, somewhere, you knew deep within, I have to dig in, right? And then you come back, and then that survival brain kicks in, the emotion kicks in and takes over, which is totally understandable. You said that you got through that by just sticking to the values that you had, the what you said you wanted to do every day, to be who you needed to be every day. Is that correct? Is that why you got you through it?
Exactly. Yeah. So don't be, because this is what I see a lot. You know, the challenge and the problems in life can drive you away from you.
Yes.
You know? And when you are far away from you, then you are really lost.
Yes.
You know, and I was trying hard to don't be lost. You know, again, you can be lost for 1 day, for 3 days,
sure.
but always not every day.
Yeah.
You know, so this is a bit the concept I had. Was not easy, but thanks to God, I could have the strength to do it. You know, because of that.
Well, it sounds like it was strength, but it was also trust. Somehow in all of it, trusting that even though you felt lost, even though you didn't know the answers, even though you didn't know if Vitiki would make it or not, you chose to trust.
Yeah, in the reality. Yeah, and this is what sometimes I see this with every rider, every competitor, you know. This select group of people, you know, we have such a high trust in ourselves in the end.
You have to.
Yeah, but for the other hand, again, always is not every day. There is days that we doubt so much. And for why? For what? And why? You know, because it's such a tricky situation, because people that are, before Tokyo, I read a text I can send to you. It's a beautiful text from a journalist in Brazil. And the guy was telling why the people enjoy so much to watch the Olympics. And it's a beautiful text, because what he said in the text is because it's a little small group of people that are capable to love more than themselves something. You know, maximum, what he say in the text is maximum what a normal human being can be capable is to love their kid more than themselves, but nothing else. And this select group of people, they are upset about this. They are more than in love for it, and they are capable to do everything for it.
Yeah.
So this means they trust a lot, you know, this. But why we can also doubt so much in the weaker moment, you know? This is really quick.
That's the interesting thing of the brain, right?
Really,
There is both parts, and it goes to show that, you know, trust and confidence and belief is not something that we're born with and you have it every day, all day. You know, it's something that you have to consistently choose to step into. And it sounds like when you connect with yourself, you can recognize that you have that choice, right? And when we're not connected with ourselves, when we listen to other voices, we think that it's almost something you need to get from the outside, right? So, yeah, also I'm curious about that trust in yourself, but also that trust to listen to your gut instinct that's telling you Vitiki is going to come through this. Because surely you must have had a lot of people who thought it's not possible, what you're doing is crazy, what are you doing to this horse?
And then the judgment also that you are not being fair with the horse. You know, all this is a lot of pressure also.
Wow, I can imagine. How did you keep listening to that inner gut instinct that said, this is what I got to do?
How? Naturally. You know, and in the end, it's my personality. For every step, if you take parts of my life, was always impossible, you know. Mandela always say, you know, it's always impossible until someone does, you know, like, so this is a bit how was all my life, you know, like, was so natural, you know. And
so you learned through your challenging journey that you don't take no for an answer, and there is always a way. And if you believe there is a way, you can find one. Is that correct?
I will find, you know, I find that, this make me stronger, you know, this kind of things, you know, like do something that is impossible. I don't know, this always is like a pleasure, I don't know, it's like My brother, not so long ago, he found a little paper where I wrote. I was 12 years old and I was about soccer, you know, and I was telling exactly this. They don't want, and they're gonna see, or you know, something like this. I always had a bit this spirit, you know, like it was natural. I had no doubt. I didn't force to go through this, you know. It was just it will happen. I will do.
So you had, you know, a lot of voices, I'm sure, advising you, telling you what you should be doing. Which voice, in the end, did you choose to follow?
My voice. The only voice I was, listen, you can ask to my vet. He came here Tuesday, and it was really, today is funny, because this Vitiki, he was always really sound in the morning. And then when the vet came, he was always lame. And then me and my brother, because my brother was really together with me about bringing Vitiki back, you know, was one of the craziest guy in this process, you know. So I remember exactly that day. And my brother is really funny, you know, because he's not really a horse person, but in the end he participates a lot from all this, but he likes animals, you know. And I remember exactly, like 10 minutes before the vet came, he was looking to Vitiki and saying, please, trot well today. And then we trot, he was lame, you know, he was lame. And then the vet told me, Yuri, this is a red line. Let's stop with this. You are playing jumping 110 fences. When you think about jump 140 fences will be already possible. Let's stop with this. And then I started to cry. I went to run. I love to run, you know, and so I went to run. And then the day after, 7 o'clock in the morning, I had a truck leaving to Saint-Tropez, and Vitiki was not planning to go far away from this, was jumping this high, you know. And then 7:30 in the morning, I called the vet and I said, do you know what? I bring him to Saint-Tropez. If he passes the vet check, and if he doesn't explode when he jump 120, then let's see what happens. He arrived there trotting perfect. He jumped in the warm-up like wow. I come back from Saint-Tropez, he was completely sound. So, you know, like, I don't know how to explain how was this.
Well, it sounds like it was another moment where you could choose to go into careful mode, as I call it,
Yeah.
or to choose to really go all in.
Yeah.
And you chose to go all in.
Exactly. Do you know what sometimes, I don't know if it's my personality or if every athlete, every person is like this, but I imagine if you go to the old wars or a gladiator or something like this, you know, imagine how much that situation scare you, or how much, you know, can affect you because you are fighting for life, no? Like, and that can be your last moment, no? But when you are in this situation, the risk of dying is there.
Yeah.
If you are afraid, you die. If
For
you are
sure.
really brave, you can also die.
Yes.
But at least let's try to kill someone, no?
Yeah. At least let's dig into that bravery. And,
Yeah, exactly.
In
I
a
think,
way, that's exactly it, right? We always have that choice.
yeah.
And it's recognizing that you have that choice.
Exactly.
Recognizing in the moment, like, I do have a choice. It's not like I'm out of options. I always have a choice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So it's curious, right? Something that comes to mind to me when you talk about Vitiki and him being lame when the vet was here and him going to the show and he's perfectly sound. How do you believe Vitiki experienced all this, and do you believe that he wants to be in the sport?
And this is what Steve Jobs said. Is the best phrase from Steve Jobs is, you cannot connect the doctors
Looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards.
So
yes.
this is the aspect about my child. People can say I'm crazy, but I knew what the horse was asking. You know, I could feel how much he enjoyed to go to the show, how much he enjoyed to jump.
Yes.
This Mount Robert also says, the real good horses, they enjoy what they do.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
That's why they have pleasure. That's why they're so good.
Yes.
You know. Obviously, they have to have the talent to be good.
Sure.
But if they don't enjoy, they are not as good as this. And I could, first of all, I could feel that he knew what was going on, because it's not normal. A blood horse like him, after 8 months in the stable, be capable to allow us to ride him without tranquilizer, without nothing.
Yeah.
He never broke a cast. He never.
Yeah.
He was quiet. You know.
Yeah.
Even 1 year ago, or 7 months ago, with the truck accident, all the other horses, they destroyed themselves. They were panicking, and he was just
staying quiet.
Completely. Wait that the people, is a clever animal,
yes,
you know, and he had this understanding for sure that he needed to be patient and he needed to cooperate to recover. That I'm sure about.
Yeah.
Second thing, he recognized how much love there was around him.
Yes.
He, if you go to the stable, he's a pet, you know, like he knows, and with my kids and with everybody else. So this is the second part. And the third part, he loves to compete, you know. So I think that we remember here, my brother, if you look at the standards, you know, more or less the height that is now, all the fences, there is a screw in the middle of, that means it's the half standard, you know. And our dream in that time was to jump this height. So the goal is, let's jump in the screw. But I remember the first time, the way he was trotting after, and you know, and don't go too far. When you go to the gym and you work out, the pleasure you have after, because you did, you know, like it is also something, the body works in another direction also. Yeah, I could feel all this coming, you know, and not one moment I doubted that what I was doing was right for him, you know.
But it's one thing to know that for ourselves, right? That even the pain of working out and even the struggle that comes with pushing yourself is something you choose. But an animal, we often feel like doesn't have that choice. However, when you really hear your story and many of the people that I interviewed for Inside the Mind, is when you really create that connection and that bond with your animal, you know they love to be there.
Completely.
And they feel everything, don't they?
And come on, and look, I am longer with Vitchke than with my daughter. And probably I spend more hours, if you calculate how many hours I spend with Vitchke and my daughter, probably I spend more hours with Vitchke.
Right.
So come on, this is what is crazy about this world, you know, and with all this social media and all these noises around us, we allow the people to say whatever they want for us, and in the end, it's such a individual process, you know, like.
Well, and that's why we're here today, right? To hear the stories of that connection, because they have emotions, but they also have a choice, right? Because if at any stage you would have felt that he would not want to compete.
Yeah, and the people, they really do believe a horse is capable to win and to clear a 1/6 round when they don't want.
Yeah.
This doesn't exist.
No.
Doesn't exist. No chance.
Do you believe, you just said, like, he knew he was surrounded with love? Is that something that you actively bring into the barn for your horses, that love, that is that something you're aware of, that horses can feel that?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, love, mood. For example, when you wake up in bad mood, what you can do well? What you can do well? Nothing. Your day is a disaster because you are in bad mood. When you feel that somebody doesn't like you, how can you have a good relationship or even professional relationship? It's hard.
Yeah.
You know, obviously they feel, and also from this love you understand better the personality and the feeling they have, you know, because it's also when you don't love somebody around you, I don't say you don't like, I just you don't love. You also don't want to know about what the person is. You're gonna try to understand who you love or not. No, the other ones you can have a social moment, but it's completely different. The intimate and the energy we spend to understand the behavior and all this. This is how I believe.
100%. Yeah. So what you're saying is, if you understand that the horses get influence, if you come out on like working with them or riding them with an attitude of it's just I have to do this, I'm not sure this horse can make it, even not really seeing the potential and being connected to their potential and believing in them, can impact the horse, right? I mean, I feel it. If somebody doesn't really believe in me, having a conversation, you're going to feel it. They don't have to say it, but you can feel it, right?
And this is why you hear this a lot. First thing about the horse you have is to like him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nothing works.
Yeah.
It's exactly like this.
Yeah.
It's exactly, and like you said, with us it's the same. No, when you don't feel that the person really believes on you, and is also okay. No, it's not that everybody has to respect or to like you or to believe in you, but you also don't give back the same energy. No?
It's true, and I'm curious how you think about this. My view is, as a professional rider, it's also your job to keep connecting with the potential in your horse. If you choose to ride that horse, it's important that you connect also with that horse, right? For the being that he or she is, not the way you want them to be. And from there you can ride without judgment. But if we're already saying this horse needs to do this for me and they have to be like this for me, it's very easy to get frustrated, judgmental.
But also if person, if you love, you have to accept how they are, otherwise it's not love.
Indeed, indeed.
It's a bit deal. No?
It is, yeah. You mentioned before there have been moments and there are days where we doubt ourselves, right? How do you come back from that, or how do you reconnect again with yourself, with belief, with trust?
Yeah, I have and I'm working on this, to be honest, the last since the Olympics, because I had a hard way to do it, like it's a really hard way. And I think this is a bit how I learned in life in the end, because if you see my life is a lot of really go to the bottom, part and then come back again. So when I'm not in my best confidence, I have to suffer a lot
Okay.
until a moment that I'm not sleeping, and then the gladiator comes,
Right.
But one of my best friends in the circuit is Kent Farrington, and he is a bit the same somehow. Sometimes I laugh about how many doubts is in his mind before a show with such a top rider like him and with so many victories in life. And one day we had this kind of conversation. I said, "Fuck, sometimes I feel that we suffer for nothing." You know what I mean? But somehow happens, and it's not enjoyable.
No.
Not at all.
No.
And it can be long nights, like suffering with this. Rome was like this. Rome was. Now I have a book, a note, how I am every weekend. Every day I come back from the show and how was my mind, how was feeling. Because mind and feeling now
it's not the same.
No, not the same. Before I thought it was the same, but now it's a bit different. And from the feeling, your mind works. So I try to feel better. And for Rome, there was no reason for it. I had my 3 best horses. I was riding really well all the show, but the night before, somehow, I was completely fighting with all this. And it's really funny to speak about, because about Fontainebleau in Rome in a row is really fun to speak about. I never did. This up and down about confidence and about always, not every day. So Miss Blue, after Den Bosch, I was stupid enough to give a break for her. And she was just coming back, so she was really fit, coming fit. And then I gave a break to her, and she's a really blood horse, really blood horse. And together with the beginning of the outside season, she became crazy. I have to say the last 2 months I could not train her anymore. She was out of control at home. When I went to Fontainebleau, I almost didn't show her because in the warm-up the first day she was so hot. But anyway, 1 week before I was in Lier, and I could not cross upon the ground. I bring the mare to the show there just to try to calm her down because she was so hot. And I was playing the indoor in Lier over upon the ground, and Marie Dumont, the Mont was there, and she was a bit laughing, it was so hot, it was crazy. And then I stopped it. She said nothing, but I saw that, that the way, even me, I was laughing because I could not even cross upon the ground. I stopped her and I said, "Look, you do Fontainebleau, Rome, St. Gallen, and La Boule. I promise you I'm going to win 2 of these." Unbelievable.
Nice.
But in that moment I was lost. But you see how crazy it is, no? So, and then Fontainebleau, Thursday afternoon, end of the day, I said to my groom, because Alphonse, my second horse, was there just to flat. He would not jump the show, and I said, "Go to the office and say that we don't jump the mare." Can you imagine how? And then he said, "Come on, we're gonna make work." I said, "Okay, let's try." But and then Rome, somehow I had already won the Fontainebleau Grand Prix, so I should be in the highest confidence in the world. Somehow but then and then I met and then, so speaking about Rome now, sorry, I got a bit lost.
That's
so
okay.
So I didn't sleep 1 hour, I think, this night, not 1 hour. Okay, but then we come back to what I said, to be home. Why I'm learning about the process now, speaking with you. Why I was like this? Because it's a CSO. So I had dinner, I had conversations around. I have this meeting. So for a moment I went out from myself.
Yeah.
So what I did in the end, and I love to run. I love to go to the gym to do my exercise, to be my routine, to be in.
Yeah.
present, connect with myself. So in the morning, I decided to run not in the gym of the hotel, run around the place, what I never did. And somehow I was not liking the show anymore. Somehow I was like one of the most beautiful shows in the world, and was somehow not connected with the show anymore. I went to run, and I saw a zoo that I didn't know was there, and then I said, what a beautiful day, the feelings, and then I connect about the place. And I remember exactly Jana Maya, when we went to start to walk the course, I said, do you know what you have to do next year? Because you are a bit like me, you always go to the show, to the hotel, you have to run around this place. It's an amazing place. I'm connected with the place. I said like this. And then everything went like it went, So, yeah, how crazy it is, all this,
Wow, I think that's so important that you're sharing that with us, because it shows that even top riders like yourself, you too have emotions, you too have doubt that kicks in and can even keep you up all night, that creates a battle within your mind. And I think it's something that we all have in common. However, I think the difference is, what do we do with that, right? That can determine everything. It's not that we have doubt in the first place, but how we deal with it, how we find a way to reconnect with ourselves, to listen to our instinct, to find a way that day to tune back in, to connect with that warrior or that, that gladiator within you, to say, let's get this done, let's do it. Yeah, that's incredibly powerful, and I think really important to success. Yeah. It sounds like, or the way I'm getting to know you, is that knowing yourself, contemplating what's working for you, what isn't, and just really being very aware of who you are it's been a real journey, but something that you're very aware of. And I wonder if your yellow riding jacket, is that part of really owning who you are and your identity?
Yeah, I don't think the idea came in my mind because of this. But again, I heard so many terrible commentaries about this, and was so challenged to wear this. Even in Brazil in the beginning, they start to create big taxes for me because I was using another color of jacket, and so many jokes and all this, that somehow this just made more strong, and now I'm going to use this, and one day they're going to contemplate, how to say this? Contemplate this idea, and in these days it's a bit like this,
Yes.
What a good idea,
Yeah.
The only one use a different color from the others, and how many good things it happened because of the yellow jacket also. So somehow, it's funny because when I look backwards, I could never imagine, but if I look myself having this idea and being brave enough to wear this the first time and all this, has to be brave, no?
Yes.
Somehow, no? Has to have a lot of personality, in that, no? Huh?
Yes.
To compete like this for not because it's a sponsor or whatever, no? It's just because it's our own idea, So, yeah. And this is again, this how not complicate the word, but how can I explain this? How divided can be your mind, like way so brave, so strong personality, and for the other, I even didn't realize. For me, do you know what I mean? It's
Well, that makes it also unique, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If it was just clear all the time, it would be easy.
Exactly. And the process is much more rich like
Yes.
this. You learn so much more because of all this.
But I think it's also really important, and so I'm so grateful you're sharing this, because I think a lot of people have many moments where you are at a point where you need to make a decision. Do I really fully step into what I believe deep down, that voice that says, I can do this, this is who I am, this is what I gotta do? Or do I stay in the safe zone, in the comfort zone, And what I'm hearing is that you've had many moments where the whole world was challenging you and you chose to stay true to yourself,
Exactly.
which takes a lot of courage and bravery. And I think ultimately also that is what you've practiced again and again.
Exactly.
To say, I'm going for it. This is what I need to do. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to do today. Daring to say up front, I'm going to win 2 Grand Prix out of the 5. Again, it takes a lot of bravery and guts to say that, and then also follow through on it.
Exactly.
And that is something that we can practice. And it's something that you're working on every single day by the sounds of it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I can send you the name. I'm gonna find out the name. I don't remember the name of the movie, but the movie was about 2 magicians, you know, and they were friends, but they were rivals also. And one day, because one was more talent, but was afraid to risk, and the other one was the other way around. He was less talent, but he was risking a lot in the presentation and all this. And one time, this one said to the talent one that he had a magician that was his idol, and he could not understand how the magician could do the trick, because it was a little old guy that could take a weight like 300 pounds, you know, and do like this, and was incredible how the guy could do. So he was so. He could not understand how was the trick. So what he did, he started to follow the guy every day to try to understand. And one day, he made a true in the wall, and he could see the guy in the bedroom. And he realized the guy was not an old guy. The guy was big, strong, and he was living the trick every day.
That's it.
You know, so this always come in my mind. You have to live your trick every day.
That's
it.
Know? Until it's.
Give me.
Yeah, that's it. That's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And then,
yeah, that's so powerful to share. Thank you. Last question: what advice would you give? I'm going to ask 2 of these questions actually. What advice, first of all, would you give your own 16-year-old self with the wisdom you have now?
Yeah. This is I'm sure about the answer is patience. Just be more patient, you know. Because we all do this believe and not believe, always, not every day or ever. Because in the end, you trust, but the time you don't control. You know, so be patient. Consistent will put you in the place, you know. So, but patience. I think I also went through a lot of doubts because I was not patient enough, and then you want to accelerate the process. And
that's really valuable. Yes, and I resonate with that. It helps also to really remind yourself to slow down, right? 100%. To just stay more present, because if we're always impatient, we're living in the future, aren't we? We're not really present.
Exactly. This is exactly the point. I think if you're not patient, that means already that you are thinking about the future.
That's
it. It's exactly. Then you're not.
There.
It's exactly. Now we went even more in the point. It's exactly. This is it.
Beautiful. And what advice would you give young riders that are up and coming in the sport on how to create a deep connection with themselves and with their horses?
What I would say, let's say to my son then, is more or less, your horse is your life. It's simple like this. No, nothing different than this. And it's true. You're gonna share with him your bad days, your good days, your dreams, your falls. Like I said, I have more hours with my horse than with my daughter. So.
Yeah, it's everything, isn't it?
Exactly. It's our life.
Thank you, Yuri. Thank you so much. This was amazing.
That's good enough. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I would love to give you, as a little thank you, my book. I really hope you enjoy it.
Sure.